Hi, it's Wednesday the 14th of October. Over recent years, people have begun to realise that mental well-being is just as important as physical well-being, and quite rightly so. In fact, I think during this pandemic, many of us have had to think very carefully about looking after our mental well-being. It occurred to me when I was looking through two of the readings set for today, Luke chapter 11, verse 42 to 46, and Galatians 5:18 to the end, that we also owe it to ourselves to make sure that we look after our spiritual well-being as well. A bit more of that in a moment. First, I want to tell you a little bit about a favourite auntie of mine. I've been enjoying some very fond memories of Aunty Joyce. She died after a very long life, and her funeral will be tomorrow. Now, although I always got on with her very well and she was always very kind to me, it's been said, or is said in our family, that, well, she was a bit of a character. She was extremely outspoken and lived by a set of rules and conventions that she had largely invented. For example, woe to anyone who received a gift from her and failed to send a thank you note. No more gifts for them. Woe to anyone who received a Christmas card and didn't pass one on in return. They were struck off the Christmas card list for life. Woe to any relative who failed to adhere to the strict turn-taking policy regarding phone calls. If she had rung you last time, well, you better make sure that the next time you rang her. She always kept a record of such things, and she could go for months, maybe years, without speaking to someone on the phone if it was their turn to ring her. It's quite interesting that although she felt she was only doing what was right, none of this rule following seemed to make her particularly happy. In fact, even though she had a lovely husband, two nice sons, a comfortable home, she was often full of woe. Strange word, isn't it? Woe. It means feelings of gloominess and misery and burden. Just to say to me, I don't know what I've done to deserve this. In our Bible reading from Luke, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees about four things that will bring woe to them. The Pharisees were very learned people, and were aspects in all of the Jewish religious rules and conventions. They made a big thing about keeping the rules and look down on those people who didn't. But Jesus points out that although there's nothing wrong with rules themselves, the Pharisees' motivation for keeping them was what was going to cause them problems. So here are the four things that Jesus says will have a negative effect on their mental and spiritual well-being. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but feel free to read it for yourself later. It's Luke 11, 42 to 46, and Galatians 5:18 to the end. First thing then, woe to you when you give to others, not because of generosity, but because it's expected of you. Woe to you when you use your position in society for what you can gain rather than what you can give to others. Woe to you because you do all you can to appear respectable on the outside. On the inside, your motives can be a bit selfish. Woe to you because you like to point out others' shortcomings, but you won't do anything to support them in improving their lives. In other words, Jesus is saying, you may seem very respectable and successful on the outside, but you won't find true peace and contentment because you haven't dealt with what's going on the inside. Well, fortunately, the second reading from Galatians has some good advice for all of us. Verse 16 of chapter 5 says, "Live by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the sinful nature." I think what Paul is trying to tell us there is that if we allow God's Spirit to live in us and to guide us, we'll have the right motivation. And even better news, we'll get rid of all that woe that affects our mental and spiritual well-being. And we'll begin to experience what verse 22 calls the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control. Surely that's got to be good for us all. So I hope you have a physically, a mentally and a spiritually healthy week. Bye for now.